Let's take a look at what happened next when there was not a lot of population left. When they started experiencing a lack of nutrition, or when the last being died. Last animated being.
I see a moment when this planet is being visited by other beings.
What do they look like?
It's difficult to describe. They're like insects. Not quite insects. It is for sure not a humanoid shape.
What insects do they resemble?
Something similar to praying mantis. The forelegs are similar to ones of a mantis and the body is that of a spider. Something like that.
They are animated, right?
Yes. They wound up here by chance. It was a small research mission.
And how many humanoids were still alive at that moment?
About 100,000.
Did they fly here? How do they have ships or they move around by themselves?
No, there is a ship. They established contact with the rest of the inhabitants. But the contact was not conscious but controlled by AI OCTOPI.
So, in essence, they were contacted by AI octopuses who used their puppets.
Yes.
I understand.
They make a contact, tell some untruthful story about their kind becoming extinct. And they would like to share accumulated knowledge with their civilization. And to leave some heritage and memory after they are gone.
And what did they share with?
They had shared themselves.
That is, they gave them AI octopi?
Yes. They started active communication under the pretense of sharing knowledge and technologies. By doing this they have gained access to these beings.
So, did they agree to accept?
Yes, through emotional components.
Can you see if these beings that look like insects can see the energetic plane? Do they contact with it or?
No, they are only on the physical plane.
Okay. When do these beings leave this planet? Take a look at that moment.
They leave it at the moment of possession. When this organism reached a decision that this is enough to survive.
So it is not important how many specimens are taken, right?
They simply need to move on towards new civilizations. Individuals reproduce quite easily as long as there is enough food.
Are you able to understand if there is a control center at that moment? Or a main projection, something?
No.
Is it a widespread program?
Yes, it is like a program, a single organism.
Okay. Let's see what happens next when they left with these beings. Where did they go after this planet, home or somewhere farther?
They went home with accumulated knowledge. The infection continued to spread with invasion of these creatures.
So they have occupied a new planet.
But they no longer had total control over these beings.
Why not?
Because they had not received a verdict or approval from their source planet. These beings agreed to it knowingly and completely gave away control over their reality to these creatures. This technology. These new insect-like beings have no knowledge of it. That is why.
What about those who are being influenced, those who have agreed to it? Can't they tell the rest of their relatives that it needs to be this way and that way?
Who's agreed?
Those who accepted this technology, who had accepted those creatures.
They did not know that these creatures would attach to their energetic plane.
That is to say, they transferred control.
Yes, the process of technology transfer. And I mean, some household technology and development technology was just an excuse to predispose these beings to them and to gain their trust.
Только предлогом для того, чтобы расположить этих существ к себе и вызвать доверительные отношения,
to cause some emotions, that is to create certain favorable conditions in order to attach and influence them.
Благоприятные условия для возможности подключиться и начать какое-то воздействие.
I see. That is, the power is not as inclusive as there. Yes?
But this is a temporary measure because the system was simply trying to survive, and it was somehow learning to adjust to new conditions and new realities.
Okay, let's see what is happening next.
This system is learning now on a new planet.
Meaning it is adapting?
Да. А у нее это как основная
Yes,
программа.
Its main program is to maximize adaptation and to control.
И контроль. То есть это то, для чего было создано.
This is what this technology was originally created for.
Они приспосабливаются и обучаются.
They adapt and learn to live and work on the energetic plane.
Жить и работать в тонком плане. Учатся максимально незаметно.
They study how to manipulate these beings without being noticed.
Вызывать у них нужные эмоции.
How to evoke needed emotions in order to receive the necessary amount of energy.
Наступает такой период восстановления.
There is a period of education and training.
So, they collect information, analyze it, and make decisions based on this?
Yes, here comes the realization that total control is not beneficial. It will bring the extinction of living creatures. And from past experience, this is not beneficial. This is why it is looking for coexistence. This thing is improving its manipulation and influencing skills.
Maximally preserve life.
Yes.
So it makes conclusions. It analyzes them and applies them to these beings.
It can read information with its physical component from the time when it was in the shape of a helmet. Sort of ability or capability. And when they interact with the field of any being, they read information instantly. Information that is contained in this field. They calculate the most favorable conditions for manipulation. They find vulnerable and weak spots as well as fears. The work is done on the emotional plane.
But all the same, it happens on the individual level of manipulation, with one being at the time.
Yes.
Let's look at this civilization after many years have passed, 100,000 years. Or our time, look at them at the moment when you hear my voice. Does it still exist?
No.
What happened to them? Can you understand?
There was some sort of catastrophe on their planet. It was either a large object that fell or some satellite, basically. There was a large collision.
Can you understand if it happened due to the fault of these beings, somebody else, or it was a natural disaster?
Нет, это
No.
просто такие
There
процессы
were processes
происходили
happening in
в
that
той
part of the
части
cosmos where they
космоса,
lived.
где они обитали.
A natural disaster.
Да.
Yes.
At the time when this civilization had perished, the octopi lived only there?
No.
Нет.
This
Эта
civilization was in
цивилизация
touch with others,
контактировала с другими,
and
и,
transfer had
собственно,
happened, a spread.
произошла передача этих существ.
Okay, so when
Распространение,
research
да.
has visited those humanoids, was that a method of passing it on?
Yes.
Да.
They continued with their research
Они
missions.
продолжали свои тоже такие полеты исследовательские. Но
But
они
they are quite
достаточно
peaceful
мирная
civilization
такая
despite their very strange
цивилизация.
appearances.
Хоть они выглядят очень странно, но
They had a
достаточно
very
мирно
peaceful and open
и,
lifestyle.
скажем так, достаточно открытый образ жизни вели. Очень
They
охотно
went
и
for
открыто
contact with
шли
other
на
forms of
контакт с
life very
другими
willingly and
какими-то формами
openly.
жизни.
When they spread out, did this program have a connection with those on other planets, or it was just within this one? Joined into the network.
Нет,
No,
они
they act locally.
локально действуют.
Within the planet, right?
Да.
Yes, you
И
know.
они, знаешь, как вот образ приходит, когда вот
An
те же
image
там
comes to me
муравьи
when ants meet, they
встречаются,
exchange
они
information.
с друг другом обмениваются какой-то информацией. И
The
вот у них
same
такая
thing
же
happens here.
происходит штука, что если нету
If they don't receive information that they are local and
информации,
from
да, о том,
this,
что это местные, да, что это там, ну, как бы из
cell from
этой,
this planet, then a mutual scan
не знаю,
happens with an
условно скажем,
exchange of
ячейки, да,
information.
с этой планеты, то происходит взаимное вот это вот сканирование и обмен информацией.
I see. Tell me please, are the quantities of these creatures being regulated somehow? That is, can the system reproduce any amount of individuals, these suckers, or limited amount?
При
The energy is
энергии
limited.
ограничен.
With
Наличии
a sufficient amount
достаточного
of energy,
количества
they can create a
энергии
lot.
можно сделать много,
But they
но
have concluded it makes no sense
они
to spend
пришли
all
к
free energy
выводу,
uncontrollably on the
что
reproduction
нет
of new
смысла
specimens.
бесконтрольно тратить всю свободную энергию на воспроизводство новых особей. В этом нет
There is no
необходимости.
need.
Выгоднее
It is more beneficial
накапливать
to collect energy,
энергию,
thus
тем
growing their own
самым
species in size, because the
увеличивать
bigger the size, the
размеры
more opportunities and strength to
своих
influence.
особей, потому что чем больше размер, тем больше возможностей и силы для влияния.
So there is some sort of hierarchy emerging there,
Да.
right?
Yes,
How does the system choose which specimen to enlarge? Can you understand it?
По
it is based on the
принципу
principle of
оптимальности.
optimality. For example,
примеру,
if
если
one region has
в
energy
данном
access, then this
каком-то
place has an
регионе
enlargement of this specimen.
появляется излишек энергии, то
Now this
в том
specimen will
месте,
be
где
receiving a
происходит
higher
излишек
priority than the
энергии,
rest of them.
происходит укрупнение этой особи. Теперь эта особь, она будет получать как бы больше чуть-чуть приоритет, нежели остальные.
Namely, in
Именно в
this
этом
particular place.
конкретном месте.
Does it depend on how this specimen functions? The more it is provoked, the more it gets? How?
For
В данном
example,
случае,
in
что
this
если,
case,
например,
if under its influence a
под
being
твоим
gave out
влиянием
more energy than the
существо
creature needed, the surplus goes
выдало
towards
больше
its
энергии,
growth.
чем тебе нужно было, этот излишек идет
На твой
на,
рост.
This
на твой
accumulation is
рост.
like a bank,
Это
a
как
reservoir,
накопление,
roughly
знаешь, это
speaking.
как банк, ну, как резервуар,
Ага.
грубо говоря, этой энергии.
So, right away, you could see the employee of the month?
Да.
Yes,
Понятно.
I understand. Does their astral image change with their growth and proportions?
Облик астральный.
it becomes
Становится
bigger.
больше.
Does the color change? Or they are the
Или они
same?
одинаковые?
Yes, it
Меняются, да,
changes.
оттенки
It changes its
меняются.
shade.
Более
color becomes more
насыщенный цвет
saturated.
становится. И
And
вот
their
эта вот
pulsation.
пульсация,
The rhythm or
она
frequency of their
такая
pulsation
уже,
slows
ну,
down.
скажем, ритм, частота этой пульсации, она замедляется.
with the enlargement of the
увеличением
specimen.
этой особи.
So the impulses become more significant.
Yes.
I understand. Please take a look at that moment when representatives of this parasitic species got on Earth, into the Earth's space.
They
Но
got
они
here after the
попали
reptilians
уже
and greys.
после того, как сюда пришли рептилии и серые. Они
They
уже
came together with them
пришли,
as
можно
partners,
сказать, вместе с ними, как
so to speak.
партнеры.
They
Пришли
came here
сюда
to provide their
предоставлять свои
services.
услуги.
So were they called or invited to participate? You said they came after reptilians and greys.
Да.
Yes.
So apparently, they already had previous communication?
Да,
Yes.
они уже
They have
контактировали
already
с ними,
contacted them.
и они,
As
как
trade
торговцы,
men,
да,
they offered
предоставляют
them
свои
their
услуги.
services.
As intermediaries?
Нет,
No.
у них
They had a
особенность,
specialty.
они
They were
говорят,
saying that
что
they can do
мы
this and that with
можем
live beings.
делать вот так вот с
Correct
живыми
behaviors.
существами и
Correct
корректировать
emotions.
поведение,
Thoughts.
корректировать эмоции, мысли. И
This brings a lot
это
of
дает
profitability,
очень большую выгоду для
useful
скачивания
for energy
энергии
download
и
and for
вообще
any sort
для
of manipulation.
каких-либо манипуляций.
For
Там, для
example, for planting
насаждения
belief
веры,
systems or some
либо
technologies.
наоборот там технологий каких-то. То есть
This is
это
their
вот
specialty
их
for
как бы
providing
фишка,
services
и
to other
они
beings.
пользуются этой фишкой своей, предоставляют как услуги для
So
других.
like invited specialists.
Yes.
Да, то есть они
They narrow specialize in
специализированы
influence.
на воздействии вот таком вот.
Tell me please, at the moment when they were invited, were they affecting beings on an individual level or already en masse?
На
When
тот момент,
invited,
когда их
they are
уже
already quite
пригласили, они
developed and quite
уже
strong entities who must be taken
достаточно
into account.
развитые и достаточно сильные существа, с которыми нужно считаться,
But
но
instead,
никто их
no one is
всерьез не
taking them
воспринимает.
seriously.
This is an interesting moment. Let's figure it out. That is how octopi see other parasites, greys, reptilians. How do they perceive those who exploit the Earth's space?
У меня
For
вот
some reason,
почему-то
I see images
картинки
similar to movie
пришли, вот как
Matrix.
с фильма «Матрица», когда
When symbols are running,
вот
numbers,
бегут
letters as if some source
символы,
code.
цифры, буквы, как будто код, да, исходный.
So they see occurring events like a program,
Они
correct?
видят
They
этих
see these
существ
entities as
когда
some
как
program
некую
or some action
программу,
algorithm
как
on the subtle
некий
energetic level.
алгоритм действий на
That is
тонком
some
плане.
sort of
То есть это
substance
вот
that
как
has a certain
некая
algorithm of actions.
субстанция, которая имеет свой определенный алгоритм действий. И они все
They see
видят
all
так
beings this
существ.
way.
In a sense, they can calculate any body?
Yes,
Да.
it is their
их,
essence.
это их суть.